Hey gamers, today I'm here to chat about my experience after a solid 1500 hours with the DualSense Edge PlayStation 5 controller. Yes, you heard that right, 1500 hours of gaming. This controller has been through it all, and it's time for me to give you the lowdown. Spoiler, there's a load to love, but not without some flaws. Let's kick things off by saying I've put this controller through every imaginable gaming gauntlet, from high-paced shooters to long sessions of open-world RPGs. I know what you're thinking, is this controller worth my hard-earned cash? Well, stick around because I'm going to give you my honest take without getting lost in all the technical weeds. I'll keep it real with what works, what doesn't, and whether this bad boy deserves a spot in your setup. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss more honest reviews just like this one. Alright, let's dive in. Let's talk about the design first. Now, most pro controllers get their rear pedals wrong. They're either awkwardly placed or feel like you need a degree in hand gymnastics to actually use them. But the DualSense Edge absolutely nailed it. These paddles are positioned perfectly where your fingers naturally rest. You don't need to stretch or strain, just a slight squeeze and you're in action mode. It's like the controller just gets what your hands want to do without you having to overthink it. I've heard people mention that these become weak over time, but this has not personally happened to me. Other players also speak about 4 paddles, but honestly, I've only ever really found them used for 2. Unless you're a hardcore competitive FPS player, you really don't need 4, but that's just my subjective opinion. Another thing I've got to mention is the build quality. As I've mentioned plenty of times in the past, I've been through 5 Xbox Elite controllers because of faulty components. Yes, 5. But this DualSense Edge, it's a tank to a degree. No double clicking issues, no wonky buttons, and not even had any stick drift. It's just kept going for me. That said, I do also wish they'd gone for electromagnetic sticks to finally put an end to the stick drift paranoia. We've all been there, right? Previously, I did praise Sony's silver lining, the swappable sticks. The idea being that stick drift doesn't have to mean that your whole controller is done for, just pop in a new one and keep going. I honestly don't know why Hall effect modules are not widely used though. I can only believe there has to be a massive market reason. With regards to the modules though, in practice, this sounded like an okay solution. Get stick drift, okay. 20 quid for a new stick to just pop in sounds reasonable. For the last year or so, stock modules have been non-existent, and that's a problem I'm not going to lie about. I've signed myself up to stock-checker.com on Discord, and it does ping me with stock at least every other day. So maybe it's improving. But as I mentioned, I'm yet to get stick drift, and so this has not presented itself as a problem. But let's talk about the not so great bits. After 1500 hours, the rubber grips on the handles have started to peel away. And yeah, I'm a little bummed about that. For a premium controller, you'd expect the grips to hold up better. It's like the designer forgot the gamers sometimes get a little bit intense and hot, which obviously is going to have a negative effect on the glue. Hopefully, PlayStation can sort this out in future versions because the peeling grips are a disappointing flaw in an otherwise solid build. Also, the triggers can still be a bit funky. I said in my previous review that occasionally, when pressing them, there's a weird clunky sensation, almost like the haptic feedback and the trigger stops are having a bit of an argument. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's just a bit odd. It's a minor hiccup, but still something that could have been smoother. And now, the elephant in the room. Battery life. Look, I'm not gonna lie, it's not great. I'm getting about 3 to 5 hours on a full charge, which, let's be real, isn't enough for those marathon gaming sessions. You'll find yourself tethered to a charging cable way more often than you'd like. Or, if you forget to put it on charge before your next gaming session, then similarly to a busy dad myself, you could be missing out on a spontaneous gaming session because the controller is dead. Luckily, the cable's long enough to let you keep playing, but come on PlayStation, it's 2024. Can we please sort out this battery situation? So after all this time, where do I stand? The DualSense Edge is still hands down one of the best pro controllers on the market right now, despite a few gripes. The comfort is unbeatable. I've had 0 hand strain even after playing for hours on end. The build quality, minus the peeling grips, has held up beautifully, and those back paddles, they're amazing. Sure, the battery life leaves much to be desired, and I didn't expect to still be dealing with wired play in 2024 going into 2025, but overall, those pale in comparison to how well the controller performs where it matters most, in your hands during gameplay. If you're serious about gaming and look to invest in a pro controller that will elevate your experience, I'd say go for it. The DualSense Edge has earned its place in my setup, and I don't see it leaving anytime soon. So what do you think? Let me know if you're picking one up or if there's another controller you think can take the crown. Drop your thoughts in the comments below.